Hey, it's Matty B adventuring on another adventure. This time we're exploring the North Cascades National Park area here with my brother Martin, and we set up camp at Early Winter Campground just outside Mazama, which is near Winthrop in northern Washington, kind of a gateway town area to the Cascades, and it's a beautiful campsite. It's within Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest, and we're just making dinner here. We're having some rice, some chili. Use Martin's brand new stove. Methanol stove.
A transient, a mini transient.
And we got lots of other snack options here. Got our tents up there, and then we're gonna have a little fire. Hey, it's Matty B adventuring here. Today we will be exploring some cool hikes in the North Cascades National Park area of north central Washington. Early Winters Campground is one of the campgrounds in the Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest, and it lies sort of just at the opening of the valley that goes into the North Cascades. There's one highway that passes through the national park, and the national park is on the north and south side of that highway. And then you have small towns, Diablo and New Halem, along that highway. Lots of camping and trail access there, but we decided to camp here because it was kind of a less developed campground, less busy. The eastern side seems to be less sort of busy for visitors than the west side because people are coming from Seattle presumably. So it's been actually really quiet. It's only $15 a night, self-pay fee area, so you gotta bring cash. Unfortunately there's no pay online option. But there's only 6 sites here, and there's another campsite just to the north with another 6 sites. And it's really nice, quiet, beautiful sort of mountain setting. It opens up into a wider valley as you come in from the east. There's the town of Winthrop, which is like an old West American style town, really cute, fun little stores, lots of outdoorsy kind of vibes. And that's about 20 minutes back eastward. And that's kind of the nearest town that actually has amenities. The closer town, Mazama, is really just like a gas station and one store. But our plan today is to head into the national park area and do some hikes out of there. So we're gonna check out the Ann Lake Trail, maybe the Maple Pass, which is one of the popular trails that goes up high into the Alpine. However, it's mid-June, and it sounds like things are pretty snowy up there still. We don't really have the gear to be hiking into too much snow, so we'll probably stick to a little bit lower elevations today, but I think it'll still be really beautiful. We should still get some cool views, some really nice lakes that are accessible, and hopefully some cool wildlife. So we just had breakfast here, and there's a nice little fire pit, and the site was full yesterday. Again, it's really small, but it did fill up by the end of the evening. Most people have already departed. So we're heading out pretty soon. We still got to take down our tents, and then we'll be on the way. It's not too far to kind of the first trail that we want to do. We're going to try to do a couple different trails if we can, sort of half day hikes, not super long, but because we can't go in the Alpine, we'll be able to do a couple shorter ones. And I have to say, this time of year, mid-June, is great for this area because there are tons of wildflowers still. It's about 750 meters in elevation. It's not too high up, but the kind of the cool rain shadow effect of the mountains keeps this area a little bit cooler than the kind of surrounding Great Basin desert, which is a lot drier and hotter, and those areas have already dried out quite a bit. All right, time to take down camp. beautiful clear mountain river right next to our campsite. We figured might as well fill up our bottles with that water and give it a taste. It's probably nice and fresh. Alright, so we filled our bottles from the creek, and now it's time to taste the fresh mountain water. Let's see, how is it? Pure spring.
Smooth.
It's very nice. It's actually not as cold as I expected. What would you rate it? What Cubone rating would you give it?
That's a leaping Cubone.
Leaping Cubone, definitely.
Scale is crying Cubone to leaping Cubone.
There we go.
Yeah,
Some good water, for sure. All right, we're on our way into the mountains, and we're getting to some nice peaks over here. Pretty snowy. All around, 360-degree view of the mountains. And it's a beautiful sunny day. It's starting to cool up as we get a little bit higher. But it's looking pretty perfect for a nice mountain hike. Oh yeah, there's a big waterfall. All right, how you feeling? Ready?
pretty muddy.
All right, we're about to start the Maple Pass Trail, but we're probably just gonna do the end lake because it's snowy. Anyway, here goes.
It's still winter here.
All right, so the first section it passes through some nice, pretty old growth forest. Looks like mostly spruce and fir. We've got some buried thrush singing. What's that?
Along a meltwater track.
Very high up there. And yeah, there's basically a meltwater creek flowing down the path. We just reached this really nice open clearing with some talus rocks, lots of snow, beautiful scenic views, and we spotted a marmot down amongst the rocks. It also looks like good pika habitat, but we haven't seen one yet. Keeping our ears and eyes open, but really beautiful, breathtaking vistas. Even though we're not that high up yet, got a long way to go.
Looks like a trail.
So we're getting pretty close to the lake here, but the trail has been kind of tricky to follow. It's quite snowy in patches, and there's lots of rocks and like branches and stuff in the way, so
A lot of false paths.
I did download the All Trails map, so we've been following that a bit. And yeah, it seems like when it was snowier, people were kind of taking different routes. But we found some little baby toads coming up out of the mud, probably, as the snow has been melting. There's one.
One of those.
There he is. Very small.
Tiny, tiny.
Okay, well, that last bit was a bit tricky. Lots of snow, soft snow to walk upon, but we made it to the lake. Here it is, Ann Lake. Still frozen. Yeah, it looks like we're kind of on the lake. Walking, or we're kind of on the edge of it as the snow slowly recedes from the edge of the lake. The ice is melting. Crazy how snowy it is. In the middle of June. Oh, we made it! Nice.
We were considering doing a trail up there, but it's not.
Yeah, so the Maple Pass Trail, I guess, it kind of comes along, it climbs up sort of this slope somewhere up there and goes all the way to the top there and follows that ridge around. So definitely needs some more heavy-duty snow equipment for that. Orange Society want to touch the water.
Oh,
How is it?
cold.
As one would expect, a
Yeah.
partially frozen lake, it's probably just above 0 degrees.
We did hear that some people were intending to swim. Spider on the lake. So, hear that some people were intending to swim in it, but
That would be quite the feat, I think. Well, pretty cool hike. Definitely maybe better to do this toward the end of June or July when there's less snow. It probably is more challenging in a week's time because the snow will be really soft and there's actually lots of water kind of beneath the snow. So we're able to avoid most of that by walking on the snow, though you do kind of fall through at times. But it's definitely beautiful, scenic. It only took us about an hour and a half to get to the lake. Not a long hike and not crazy elevation either. It's really just the snow that makes it challenging and kind of rough terrain. Not always knowing exactly which direction to go. But yeah. See you later, Ann Lake. Alright, so we finished our hike a little while back and it was a pretty quick return. Now we're having a little bit of a lunch break at the Diablo Lake overlook. So basically we kind of followed the highway goes down a long way into the Diablo Lake Valley, I guess, and Ross Lake Valley.
Yeah.
Two of the dammed lakes that follow the Skagit River Valley from the north through the area. I guess the dams produce a lot of electricity for kind of this greater Seattle area. And
It's very windy here.
very windy. There's some nice overlooks over the lake. It's really scenic. There's some glaciers up in the mountains. And it's busy. It's a kind of a big pull-out area. Lots of people kind of stopping here. Some people napping in their cars. There's like
There's a wedding happening over here.
a wedding,
Or
all
pictures,
sorts
I
of
guess.
things. Yeah, wedding associated activities. But yeah, my feet got pretty wet on the last hike because my shoes are at the end of their lifespan. And so I'm just kind of trying to dry those out in the sun. We wanted to do another hike today. We'll see how it goes. We might check out the campsite and set up camp first after this. But it's still a beautiful sunny day. And there's lots to see, so we're just going to keep on making our way.
Even just the driving is like incredibly scenic.
Yeah,
Very good views.
amazing views of all the mountains surrounding the area. It's now almost 3 o'clock. What is this waterfall called? This is the Gorge Falls? I don't know. Gorge Lake Creek? Gorge Creek waterfall. Pretty impressive. It's very narrow and steep. It flows into Gorge Lake. We just made it to our second campsite here in New Halem. This is the New Halem campground, and we're in Loop B, Site 36, and it's a really beautiful campground, huge, lots of space. We didn't actually book anything in advance, and there were quite a few spots open. Maybe the campground's about half full, I'd say, but it's early. We got here around 5 o'clock, so there's still people rolling in. And it's kind of a beautiful, more of a coastal, Pacific coastal forest, lots of hemlock and cedar, Douglas fir. We just hit up the visitor center. They closed at 5. I wanted to get some stickers and patches for the North Cascades. So we did that, and now we're just kind of setting up camp here. This is kind of the layout of the campsite. There's a bear canister, pretty large tenting pad, picnic table, and all that jazz. It's a sandy site, which is good for pegging your tent.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful, still warm and sunny evening. We were thinking about doing a little bit of a trail, maybe one of the easier ones along the river a little bit later once we get set up. We're feeling pretty tired as well from the hike this morning and just kind of exploring all day long. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, we had a little bit of a second wind and decided to do the River Run Trail, which is pretty short. It's only 3 kilometers, and it departs from our campsite, which is nice. Don't have to go anywhere else. And it traverses this beautiful forest here. It's beautiful and sunny, and we should meet the river pretty soon. What'd you find?
Nice little sapling.
Oh yeah.
Doing well.
Lots of ferns in this recently burned area.
I mean, that's a burn.
Yeah. Here we go, the river. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a nice sand. It's a beach. Wow. What river is this?
It's the Skagit River.
The Skagit, is it?
So,
This is indeed the Skagit River, the very same that originates in British Columbia. And the water is very pristine. Look at that. There's some really big trees here. What's in there?
see through down the bank.
Cool.
There's space in there.
Outer space? Inner space.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh wow. Look at that water. So clear. There's a Pacific wren singing its heart out. Just over here somewhere. Another one in the distance. There he is right there. Back to the campsite. Go this way. How are the shoes, eh? Yours?
There's just like a little bit on the sides that's a little moist. Get it dry and turned out. It's not that easy. You gotta get the front and the top. Like the inner bottom.
So, what do you think about the hikes tomorrow? I'm kind of leaning toward the Blue Lake one, I feel like. Even though it's similar to the hike we did today, but
Yeah,
it sounds like a good length and it's scenic.
yeah.
Or we could do one of the canyon ones. Hello, hello. Good morning. It is day 2 of our Cascades adventure. Really just a half day because we're heading home. But on our way, we're doing another hike. We got rained out our campsite this morning. We woke up before the rain, and as we had breakfast, it started to rain. So we frantically scrambled and got everything together. It made for a good timing on our departure. We passed the Diablo Lake overlook just in time to see a stunning, vivid rainbow
Yeah.
fully arching across the lake. So that was really
Perhaps
nice.
the greatest rainbow ever
Perhaps
seen.
footage here. And now we're just stopping at the Washinton Pass overlook, which has a short little walk to some kind of overlook. We're about to find out. It's pretty cool. The rain has subsided for now. It's only about 10 degrees and cloudy.
Cool, but I'm persisting in wearing shorts.
Yeah. We'll see how the weather develops. Got some sunlight hitting the mountain tops, which is nice. Craggy peaks all around. That's Kangaroo Ridge there. And here's the overlook. Wow.
That's a pretty good overlook.
Wow, look at that. We've got a little bit of cloud cover. Pretty nice. Pretty majestic. So there's Washinton Pass. That's the road that you come in on from the east. Way down below. We'll be heading back down there shortly. Alright, we've made it to the Cutthroat Lake trailhead. It's 11 o'clock. The trail is only about 6 kilometers, not too much in elevation, so it shouldn't take us too long. It kind of starts passing through pretty high elevation forest. Looks like a lot of lodgepole pine. We've got some subalpine fir probably. And it's surprisingly busy. The parking lot was like full, probably 10 vehicles or so on a Tuesday.
This is one of the easier hikes though, so I guess it's probably why it's more popular.
Yeah, and we've got a little bridge crossing right away here. I'm gonna assume this is Cutthroat Creek. Pretty nice. Nice. Yeah, there's a little creek crossing here. Okay. Maybe up that way. Oh yeah. Looks like a fun little bridge. Alright, so we did bring some hiking poles on this trip, and this is the first time we've actually taken them out. Good to have for this sort of thing. Probably a lot wetter this time of year with the snow melt. We had some rain too as well, so. So there's a fork in the trail here, and apparently the bridge that goes to the lake is out. But let's check it out. Yeah, okay. One of the reviews mentioned this bridge, which is about to fail, apparently. The use is not recommended, but it could fail. But, you know.
It looks in alright condition.
Well, we'll give it a go. Yeah. If it were to fail, I would have gotten on video. So we've taken the route that leads to the Cutthroat Pass, which goes much higher up. Apparently you can still see the lake a little bit further along, but it's getting pretty snowy here.
Over 1,550 meters.
1550?
1553.
Okay. Nice. Some varied thrush singing. That means we're getting into some more dense, mature forest.
Cutthroat Road 2.
This section sort of runs along the creek, so it's gonna be wet. Looks like the lake is just up ahead.
Maybe misty. The pass section.
Maybe. It's quite muddy. Alright, we've got a little bit of a creek crossing here just to get kind of over to the other side. We got some sticks, so Martin's gonna give it a go. Do it.
I feel like I should have carried momentum.
I don't know. Are you gonna do it? Well, we made the crossing and it was definitely worth it because look at that stunning view. Wow! Definitely a stellar view. What's that? 2 thumbs up. The water's incredibly clear. Look at that. It's okay. All right, so pretty amazing. I would definitely rate this hike a 5-star.
Don't believe the reviews. It has wow factor.
Definitely has wow factor. It's nice because it's thawed. It's not frozen like the other lakes. So, you know, you have a little bit nicer watercolor.
Yeah.
Um,
We're at 1550 elevation, which probably has something to do with the lack of freezing.
yeah. So how many kilometers was it to get here?
3.4.
Okay.
That's what I
And
got.
it took us just what, hour? A little over an hour?
Yeah, I didn't pause it. Probably an hour and 10, something
Yeah.
like that.
Elevation?
Elevation gain, 141 meters.
Okay. So yeah,
Not too bad.
pretty easy aside from those
Yeah.
little couple of wet areas and obviously the creek crossing that we just had. It's a very well maintained trail, easy to follow.
Yeah.
So doable for most people.
Yeah. Pretty peaceful.
Well, unfortunately, our Cascadian adventure has come to an end, and we are now in Winthrop for a little pit stop. This is the gateway town to kind of Cascade area. It's a very cute little Western style town. Alright, so I got some coffee at Blue Jupiter for the ride home. Got about a 3-hour drive back to Summerland, plus a border crossing. But yeah, that was sort of a 1.5 day Northern Cascades adventure. We managed to do 2 shorter hikes, camp for 2 nights. Overall, really beautiful, stunning vistas everywhere.
Couldn't be better.
Yeah, honestly, it definitely exceeded my expectations, or at least met my expectations. For like early week, it was kind of busier than I expected, to be honest. A lot of the trails had a few people on them, but they weren't busy. It's not like we were constantly encountering people. The trail today had quite a few people on it. But in terms of timing, it's kind of an interesting time of year because like there's still snow on a lot of trails, so you can't do a lot of the trails that go higher up unless you have like really hardcore gear.
That's your problem.
So it's kind of it's still shoulder season for sure, and I'm sure it gets busier in June, July, but otherwise I would definitely come back here. It's really beautiful. There's tons of trails to explore.
Yeah.
I'd say, like, I think one of my favorite parts of the park is just all the different forest ecosystems that you pass through, because you have kind of the drier ponderosa, sagebrush, and then leading up into sort of drier, higher elevation forest with lodgepole pine, and then you kind of get into like really high stuff with subalpine fir, and you really just kind of pass through all these different ecosystems as you cross over the mountains, and then you kind of get into the more Pacific Northwest, wetter, temperate forests on the west side. And really within like an hour and a half of driving, you can see all of this sort of ecological gradient, which is really cool.
I don't know, did we actually even enter the park, the national park?
I don't think we actually did.
It's just like remote, basically. Like there's a rec area that cuts the park into two.
Ross
and then
Lake
there's
Recreation
the National
Area.
Forest to the east of the park. Various national forests.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting setup where the park is on the north and south side of the main highway that goes through, and you kind of have to do some of the backcountry hikes up to the passage to actually officially get into the park. We did visit the visitor center, so I feel like that counts, and we could see the mountains that are part of the park. The Maple Pass Trail, had we followed all the way to the top, we would have entered the park. But yeah, kind of interesting. Little caveat there.
And like that's probably why the visitor numbers are so low for the park. Is like it's more backcountry, like just more serious hikers.
If that's
versus, like,
what they
the rec
count.
site, is like probably more popular.
For sure. And there's like lots of scenic vistas, even if you're just passing through, driving, camping. The campgrounds are nice if you just want to hang out at the campsite and you're not into like intense hiking or mountain hiking. And then in terms of wildlife, we didn't see a ton of like large wildlife. We did see a hoary marmot. We saw lots of squirrels. We heard a pika.
Saw some deer.
And birds. Not super diverse because it's high mountains, but we did see some olive-sided flycatchers, sooty grouse. That was a highlight. You might see ptarmigans further up, but we didn't on this day.
Lots of tanagers.
Yeah, lots of tanagers, Townsend's warblers, and then you kind of get more of the Pacific
nighthawks.
stuff. Yeah, nighthawks as you get down to the west side. Nice
Wish
little.
we could have stayed longer.
Yeah, it was. I would definitely go back for more time. We just kind of had this opportunity and made the most of it. But this is definitely another sort of national park blitz, which is kind of becoming, I guess, my thing. But yeah. But yeah, anyway, join me for another adventure soon. Bye.